Hello, this is Victor, and in the next video we are going to explain how to paint the skeletons from the curiosity to the equally to the one that you see here on the screen. So I'm going to explain all the steps that you need to go for that. Quite easy to have a nice tabletop finishing. So let's start with very light priming. I think this was Glacier if I'm not wrong, because it does not have this bone color. And we're going to start applying contrast. I like a lot to start with the contrast paints. I think it's a lot of work. And we're going to start with the red. So I'm going to apply this one Flesh Tears red, this contrast paint, over the clothes. So I start with that because I need to go here inside, okay, and I will need to apply it on all the clothes. Okay, so we are going to go carefully. I will try not to dirt them, especially the bones. But if we dirt some bones, something like the metallic is not a problem. The armor, if you're dirting the armor, try not to dirt the base, because in that case I already did the base. Well, if you have not done the base, it's not a problem. But try not to dirt the bones, because you want this clear layer on the bones, so we can apply then the contrast paint on the bones as well. So I'm going to apply this on all the clothes. You can see it's quite. There's not much mystery. This Flesh Tears red covers very nicely and give a very nice and red. I really like it a lot, more than the Blood Angels one. Okay, so I'm going to apply this, and I'm back for the next step. Okay, next step I'm going to use wildwood wood. So wildwood contrast, sorry, on the spear and this part here on the shield. Okay, I'm doing this. And then the spear. Okay. Again, try not to do it on the bones. And here we go for a very dark wood finishing. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm back for the next step. Okay, this is how it looks like now. Next step, I'm going to use this one, Snake by Leather, and we are going to paint the belts that we have in different parts of the miniature. This is one of the best contrasts for me, and it works perfectly to do this type of belts that you want them to be weathered. So you applied quite a good amount of paint, and you will see that naturally it's concentrating in the core of the belts, leaving the borders much lighter. That is what you will do if you do. It simulates very nicely the edge highlight. You can exaggerate it later on if you want it, or you can leave it like that. So with one layer you almost have a nice look. And then I will do as well these belts that are trying to hold the armor on the bones. Okay, again, same process. And I don't have more belts. Now I'm going to use Skeleton Horde. Here it is, Skeleton Horde. And we are going to apply this on all the bones. See, this is equivalent to apply. It's very similar to apply Ushabti or Swimming School plus Seraphim Sapphire. So you will have very similar finishing. Okay. So I'm going to apply this on all the different bones. Okay, and I'm back for the next step. Okay, next step, I'm going to use iron breaker, and we are going to paint all the metallic parts with that. Okay, so taking just a brush like that, and we are going to do all the armor parts. We try to go thin, so I have some water here, and try to thin it down, and we go. Okay, and we are going to do this. Will look very bright at the beginning, don't worry. With all the weathering we are going to do, it will come back to dark. Okay, so we do that on all the armor parts, being careful not to dirten the parts that we have already done in red and in bone colors, and I will be back for the next step. Okay, we have all the metallic done. Now we have locked all the base colors. So next step, I'm going to use Fire Slayer Flesh, and I'm going to paint the shield with that. Okay, so this to give this copper finishing. This color also can be used to do rust effect on metallics. Okay, so you can see I do the inside and the outside of the shield. Like that. And now I'm going to take this one, Riftcomb Orange, and we are going to fly this in random places on the metallic parts. Okay, this to give more the sensation of rust. I will follow, for example, this part here and do it around there. All the rivets and things like that. I want to do some random parts. I try not to put here and there, but I try to reduce a little bit the intensity of the orange on the spear blade. Okay, you can see I'm using my finger sometimes to wrap some part of the paint here. We are going to put as well. So just basically where you see these damages, because this looks like rust damage. We are going to apply this. Okay. Now I'm waiting that this is drying, and I'm back for the next step. So next step, I'm going to use nickel oxide, and we are going to apply this on the shield. Only on the shield. The other metallics, we make the rest in orange. There. You can be more or less generous as you prefer. As you can see, I try to thin it down so I don't have super intense blue. Okay, and again we weighted this device. Okay, next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use aqua shade, and we are going to wash the whole miniature. So this hole is looking like now, with all the rust, all the orange we have applied. Now we are going to wash completely the miniature. I normally start from, when I'm washing a miniature, I start from the top and then I start going down. Okay. This will darken overall the miniature. That is what I'm looking for, to give this look more dirty. Yeah, more weathered. Okay, you can see I go quite heavy in some parts. We are going to highlight later on the red and the bone, but overall I'm going for a quite dark look on these ones. Okay, and I think the aqua shade of wash, it's working very well. Okay, so we are going to apply it everywhere, including the shield. Try not to miss any spot. Okay, so I will keep doing that. I will wait at this device, and then I will come back for the next step. Okay, next step, we are going to highlight the red, and we are going to use Cone Red, Mephiston Red, Wild Rider Red, and we are going to have, in case we need to do some shades, Rhinos Hide as well on our palette. Okay, so I will start normally with Cone Red and Mephiston doing the highlights. For example, let's start with this one here. Just take, try to wet it a little bit. I start with Cone Red, and we go like that. Now I take Cone Red Mephiston, and I will do this one here, and I will as well do that one here, Cone Red, now Mephiston, and now you will find the reason why I have. In that case I will use even Corvus Black, because I want to leave this very dark here, just to clean up a little bit that I went off. And I will use as well Rhinos Hide to do the shading underneath. And here that we have this line to dissimulate these join lines, I'm going to use cone red at the beginning, and then I come with runner's height, I will use runner's height as well here to darken all this. Need to put some water to this space. Now I will use cone red. So we will keep, now when I'm going to start using Wild Rider red. And we are going to put it on the most exposed highlights. Weighted this device before touching it because it looks brighter when you just apply it. I'm using again my piston. You can see, sorry for the dog barking. And now I'm using again Wild Rider. I'm going to use here my piston, and in that case I'm going to use again Wild Rider red on this part. On this one I will use just my piston red. And I will leave here the shade very dark as it is now with the wash. It's up to you how dark or light you want to leave the shades, but I like to leave them quite extreme on this case. Because I want to look I want to have the look of dark red. So I'm looking for parts where we have them before. Now here the device again. You can see now that the split line is not visible anymore. So now we can do this kind like that. You can see that the split line is very well hidden. Here we have the sparse, just a little bit highlight, not too much, and here you see I'm going to use the Corpus Black here on this part. It's quite thin, I'm going to give this dark look there. in this case here I want to hide highlight. So this one red, I want to eliminate this white there, and here I want to highlight. I start with corn and then I go here with Mephiston. And I will use here Rhinos Height to darken this part. Mix with red, will give a lighter color. I wait this device before touching again, and I will now come with again wild red and red. You can see wild red when the device is not as orange as when it's wet. So always apply it and wait that it dries before doing corrections, because it can be that is darkened well than what you expected. Okay, and you can see that now we still have this dark looking red, but we have the highlights much more defined. So like that I will keep working on the skeleton, on the red cloth, and I'm back for the next step. Okay, this is how the red looks like now. You can see here and here. Now we are going to highlight a little bit the bones, and we are going to use mainly Flake 1 Flash. I also will have, in case it's needed, XV88, in case you need to do some shading, or even Rhinos Height. It all depends what type of shade I will need, if I need to repair any type of shade or something like that. Okay, so what we do with the Rhinos, with the Flake 1 Flash, is we are going to highlight the bones like that to make them a little bit more visible, but I will try to keep the dark look on most of the places. So I will just touch on the most exposed areas, example, and I go quite thin. So I leave the color a little bit transparent. And then the head is too dark, so I will apply first Flake 1 Flash, especially on the top part of the head. And now I will use this, where I will use XV88 to help a little bit on the transition. I will keep the deep recesses very dark. I'm using again XV88, and now I come and I mix it with I'm going to highlight around the eyes, the nose, the jaw, Here's where we can use a little bit of Windows height. To help us in this transition. Here where it's very dark I will use Windows height. Now I will take this and I will mix it with the bone color. And we are going to add a little bit more bone color here to make it lighter. We use just flake one flash. Well on the top. We're going to need to wait this device for doing more layers. Okay. You can see it's taking shape now. This. I'm going to highlight again the nose. The top of this eye. Still, I need to wait that the top is drying, so when you are waiting, so you can do other parts while the head is drying. I'm going to highlight a little bit this hands are too dark. Oops. Now we add and I will highlight as well the ribs that we have there in the hole. Like that. Okay, now let's go to highlight a little bit the spear, and I'm going to use XV88 again. This color, the spear. Coming very thin. With very little pain. And just touching here and there. Just with a little bit of variation. It's not this stuff will look, or this stuff, this spear will look very flat on the pool. You can do this with different colors. I use this one because I already have it here in the palette for other reasons, so I think it's and it give a nice contrast to the wildwood. Okay. And the last thing you can do to finalize the work on this skeleton, we take a damage brush for dry brushing. We take this one iron breaker. Very little paint. Very carefully. We just the brush very little, very soft. Some of the metallic parts. Because naturally the parts with friction, the parts that are more polished, and we're going to do that a little bit on the shield. The parts that are more polished will be clean of rust normally. The parts with friction will get polished in a way, so they will have less rust, less dirtiness. Okay, you can add very little like that. This will also pop up the chainmail. And that will be my last step. You can do still one thing if you want. You can add some additional highlight to the leather belts. So what you can do, we use this color tire sand. You can add some additional highlight, very thin, and even in some places some scratches on the leather. This will give a little bit more depth. As you can see, I'm just highlighting the top part, and here I will just do next to this damage. You can do like a small cut there. You can do another one here. I will not overdo, to be fair. Just to add a little bit more highlight, but like that will be more than enough. And here we have, this is a way to do the skeletons, how I did the skeletons from the Curse City. So I hope you have enjoyed this one. Please give a like if you have liked this video. Let me zoom in, so here you see the final result. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please give a like if you have liked this video, share if you think other people can be interested, and keep tuned because I will keep painting the Curse City miniatures, and the next one will be this guy. Okay. So as usual, thanks a lot for watching and see you again later. Bye.